Welcome, 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 welcome back. Welcome to the Reiki Healing Hope community, a place to heal, relax, be yourself, and be surrounded by those who want to see you blossom and or bloom. I am Jessica. Hey y'all, a Reiki master teacher and intuitive, and today we have a special session. We are going to be changing your frequency, and I feel called to pull some cards, so I'm probably going to pull some cards too during this session. I just got a lot of decks in, so I'm like, let's share it. So if you're new, like, comment and subscribe. You don't know how much that really helps me and helps the community expand. I'm not gonna lie, you have been there, and if you're new, what's up? Welcome. But for those who have been there when I had not a lot of subscribers here, the journey has been a very tough one, because really I've put in a lot of effort specifically on TikTok to bring you. So a lot of people are probably from TikTok. You've probably seen me on TikTok, but I've put in a lot of energy to bring people on to this beautiful community, this platform of all of us together through TikTok, because I actually never took off on YouTube. And I get it often like, I think you should have more views or more community or stuff like that. So I still haven't taken off. And one way to help me do that is to share this video, is to like it, is to comment, is to subscribe. That's how the algorithm works. And I really, really appreciate it when you do. I'm still gonna, hustle, and allow our community to grow. But just letting you know that it's like, look, I have over 300 videos. I post a video every day of the week, and it is a lovely and wonderful healing space. But the hustle continues. It continues, and I appreciate when you share and you help me. Thanks for the help. So if you're new, we start off the practice with a prayer. It is not a religious prayer. I've been keeping it real this week. Like, I'm actually having a great time this week, because I'm like, I'm just gonna be me. I'm just gonna be me. Just whatever that is. I go on tangents. I talk about history. I talk about systemic stuff, energy, medicine, healing, random shit. I do all of these things. Why? Because I love myself and I love you, and I just want to give myself permission to be myself, and I want to give you permission to be yourself. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. Anyway, what I'm going to say is, if you're new to the community, we start with a prayer. It is not a religious prayer. That's your business. Whatever religion you want to be, or whatever spiritual path, that's your business. That's your right. I encourage you to explore as many as you want, or to be the same religion forever. That's your business. I'm more interested in the connection of community, that people of different spiritual backgrounds can come together and use this collective energy towards healing, wisdom, love, support of each other. So this environment is a loving environment. This environment is a supportive one. This environment has all kinds of people here. And guess what? It's going to stay that way, okay? And you're going to change if you want to. And I know for myself, I'm going to change. I'm going to continue to change. I'm going to continue to learn. This is Unbound October, so I'm transforming. We're going into Scorpio season. I love Scorpio season. My rising sign is Scorpio. Hello. Okay. My sun is in the 8th house. Hello. Boom, 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 boom. That's why I love this transformation stuff. Okay. Let's get it on and pop it. But because I do say a prayer, and I know the healing associated with prayer and religion and things like that, and the healing of needing to be healed from religious experiences that weren't positive, I always ask for consent, because consent matters. So, do I have your permission to say a prayer? Okay. Dear Mother, Father God, and all for the highest vibrational good, please connect us to the Reiki Masters, the Ascended Masters, Master Jesus, Master Buddha, Master Kutumi, Yamonja, Oshun, Mawu, and all the Taurus. Please connect us to the archangels, the ancestors, our lineage, and all for our highest vibrational good only, rooting us down in our individual healing experience and bringing us forth as a community. I say all of this in the name of I am. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. So just a prayer to connect us, to balance us. So as we change your frequency here, I want you to just breathe on your own. And every time you exhale, I want you to release something that is taking up space, that is no longer serving you, and let it go. Let that shit go, boo. Let it go, okay? Old you, old life, it's time to transition. It's time to move forward. It's time to be one with what is for you. And if that's a person, let that motherfucker go, okay? If it's an environment, make new plans. If it's a trauma or a memory, if you have access to therapists, support systems, people around you, use it. If you just have yourself, do what you got to do. You need to do a spell. You need to do a petition. You need to do a mantra. You need to do a prayer. Do whatever you need to do to release that and let it go. And changing the frequency of you really depends on, number one, you being able to be receptive that you deserve more. Because lower frequency, or I was going to say lower vibrational experiences, typically start because the person begins to accept a lower vibrational reality. And if you want to be released from that, you have to expect more for yourself. You have to be open to more for yourself. And you can only accept more for yourself. So when people treat you lower, when an environment doesn't no longer serves you in a light, loving, healing way, let it go and move forward. You know, you don't need to stay there and punish yourself. You don't need to stay there because you love someone else and you want to, show them how much you love them by sacrificing. You don't need to do none of that. You can let it go. So that's one aspect. The second aspect is living in a space of gratitude. And how do you live in a space of gratitude? It is quite simply just accept yourself. Accept yourself for who you are. Accept yourself for this life. Accept yourself for the quirky things that you love, for the path you're on, for maybe not knowing everything, or maybe like really liking something that you feel very secure about and other people don't. Who cares? If you feel like you are in love with life, that is the true healing. That is the true way to change your frequency, to accept yourself. I don't give a fuck, okay? If somebody is telling you, well, you need to do this or you need to do that to make me feel comfortable, who cares? You want to look over your life and know that you did everything that was in line with your spirit, your energy, your collective mission, the collective consciousness of why you had incarnated in this experience. You want to know when you look back on that life that you did everything you needed to do. And the best thing you can do, the most brave and loving thing you can do for yourself, is to stand up for yourself and stand up for your path. Some people won't get it and they can take the boot in their butt, okay? And get on out. Because if you're not on this train, you can leave. And you got to be prepared to be able to do it on your own. You got to be prepared to have that path on your own, to be the only person, or to open your heart up to like-minded people. Sometimes you might know about communities, but you're nervous. Will they accept me? Or how will people think if I'm associated with them? Fuck that. Okay, I know I'm doing a lot of cursing, which in real life, I actually curse a lot. But I usually try to curse to joke. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, I'm keeping it real, okay? Bringing super auntie vibes. I have 7 nieces and nephew. My oldest nephew is 18, and I know I'm showing my age. My oldest nephew is 18, and my youngest niece is 7. And I feel like when I approach them, I just, tell them, like, kids love security. So I just tell them what they need to do. I'll be like, okay, you're going to do this. Like, I give them structure, but I also give them the freedom to do whatever they want to do. Like, we're going to do this today. We're going to do that today. Da, 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 blah, 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 blah. I'm basically saying the same thing to you, which is giving these auntie vibes. So I guess that's probably what they get all the time. But I'm saying the same thing to you, which is sometimes you just got to do you, boo. Sometimes you just got to live your life the way that you need to live your life. Sometimes you just got to be happy with the life that you have with who you are. And who you are can change. You can learn some new stuff. You can, explore different stuff. You don't have to have every answer, but you can stop this war against yourself. Because I think, and this is my theory, if people really stopped waging wars on themselves, I think that we would see less dissonance in the world. Why? Because a lot of people project, and those projections snowball. They become collective projections. And then we get into these horrible things that we've seen in the human experience, human existence. And if we all just start with owning our own shit, I really think that that's where healing comes. Because this is what I learned, especially watching everything that has been going on with the dialogue of police brutality and things like that. In the beginning, around March, when people were really talking about and very vocal about systemic racism and police brutality and things like that, marginalized identity, intersections and things like that, there were a lot of people who were not equipped to navigate. Well, where does that leave me? If I'm a privileged identity, or if I'm being privileged in a certain place or situation, where does that leave me? Because it is not my intention to hurt, but I am unaware of how the privileges that I have are hurting someone else, or that I'm unaware that I have a privilege that someone else doesn't have. That's why I'm communicating in this kind of way. I think just owning the fact that there's a duality. People of color already know what I'm talking about, or people who are marginalized. If you have some type of difference, some type of ability or able-bodiedness difference, see this in the LGBTQIA community. We see this in all kinds of different ways, just various differences. If you have been othered in a certain way before, you will probably have a perspective, especially if you have multiple things on top of that too. You will probably have this code switching that happens, that you had to learn from an early age, that your existence may not be what is mainstream popular culture. And if you never had to have that, then you're really lucky. And it might be a little bit harder to dismantle that reality that you've had. But I say all of these things to say that reality, that existence, people really struggled with confronting the fact that horrible shit happens, and a privilege that they have is a part of the reason why horrible shit happens. And you just saw people freaking out in different ways. Instead of it being about how can we make systemic change, it was more about like fragile feelings, okay? to just be nice about it. Fragile feelings, okay? But really, if a person just owns that, if they can stand in it and say, wow, it's hard to hear that this suffering happens and I am privileged in it. I'm benefiting from a system. But you know what? I'm not going to make it about myself. I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do the soul work so that I don't repeat these things. And I'm going to take it a day at a time. Boom. That's simple. Okay? Boom. It really is like that. Whenever I hear a comment of someone bringing something up that usually if someone's mean, I don't really care. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I'm just going to say I don't really care. Or if someone is just being like, whatever, I don't care. Or if they're being like religious in a way of like, please, like, know that like trying to like force religion, like a specific religion. Also, I'm just like, okay, whatever. But when people reach out to me and say like, hey, when you use the term smudging, or you use Palo Santo, or you use white sage, that impacts me as, an indigenous person of the Americas, or that impacts me by the use of this term by someone of a different lineage. And when I hear those things, I can quickly see how others would be like, oh my gosh, no, they're attacking me. I don't feel that way. I feel grateful. How am I going to be exposed to new things and learn new things? I'm just giving y'all a roadmap to use. How am I going to have an opportunity to bring forth new herbs, which we've been using? We've been getting down with cinnamon. How am I going to know about the sustainability of crystals being the new blood diamonds, if people don't bring it up, if we don't have this conversation? And I think a lot of times people, maybe they're a little bit aggressive on how they deliver a message like, you're a trash, you do this, you're horrible. These crystals are horrible, but you also have to be strong enough to receive the message and not take it personal. And I say that to say that if we approach life like that, and whatever comes up, whether you're pursuing a passion that you really, really love, or you're in a relationship and you want to work through it, or you have a family situation, a friendship situation, your own health, if you can face it in a objective but nurturing way, your life will literally change. Why? Because every time someone has said something to me, and it happens on TikTok too. I'm using this example of the Palo Santo and the white sage. I have said, thank you. I appreciate you commenting this, and I think it opens up a conversation for us to talk about cultural appropriation and sustainability, so that we can, as we're coming to relax, as we're, coming to, not really have to think about these things, we can still use these platforms and these communities to talk about things that matter, to talk about various histories, to talk about all of these things. And sometimes it comes up by, doing something that someone, wants to educate on, or having an open space, or having people from similar traditions say, no, I don't necessarily feel that way, or I do feel that way, or, all of these things. It's just so important. And when I'm talking about changing your frequency, I'm saying, sorry, I got so into the message. I'm saying that you have to be able to be strong enough to hear the messages that are coming to you from spirit guides, source, angels, ancestors, universe around you, a loving friend, your own self, without breaking down, without feeling like, oh my gosh, someone is like, it's hard. I want things to be so easy, or I don't want any dissonance. I'm already afraid. I feel like Dave Chappelle said it best. He was like, people walking around like politicians. I don't want to make mistakes in front of people. Make mistakes in front of people. Transform. Who cares if somebody brings it up, 10 years later? Use that as a healing, or use that as a platform to speak the truth. Use that as a platform to do vibrational good. Because think about it. Any mistake you've ever made, okay, whatever it is, or something that you feel like, oh, I can't believe I used to think like that back in the day. Whatever that is, then becomes a teachable platform. There are some people who will come out and be like, oh, I don't like that person because back in the day they said X, Y, and Z. All you got to do is own it and say, I said that, or I did that. And you know what? This is what I learned. And I don't want to deviate from the true beauty of what was coming up in this message. So we can make it be about me, or we can really divert back into the original message. So let me just name it. If you are a white person and you have struggled with trying to understand, how can I be there to help those who have been marginalized and things like that, all you have to do is just acknowledge the fact that white privilege exists. Okay, step number 1, you go out, you do education, you pay attention to oh, okay, is this cultural appropriation if I do this? or if I do that, and just acknowledge the experience that is happening when someone else says that, and leverage your privilege to help other people. If you are a man and you know that you have a privilege in this world to walk around in spaces, you may not, if you're one of those people that don't have to think about like walking down the block and think about how someone could victimize you, or being able to travel abroad without really thinking about how someone could victimize you. If you are a part of someone who is not in the LGBTQIA community, someone who gets to benefit from, just heteronormative standards, just acknowledge it. Acknowledge, I benefit from this system. It takes nothing away from me to have, same-sex marriage, or, to have various federal rights and federal protections. It takes nothing away from me. Able-bodiedness, people who go through life and have to adjust so much to things that people who don't have that, whether it be visible or invisible or not visible things, invisible, sorry, trigger, not invisible, but visible or non-visible things, that they have to do so much just to enjoy the certain luxuries. If you have, being a U.S. citizen, the ability for U.S. people to travel around the world so seamlessly, and there are people in various countries who are seeking asylum, in the U.S. or some other place, and just the amount of freedom that a person can have just being from a certain, country, and the amount of xenophobia that happened. I use the example of the way that the U.S. changed post 9/11. The way that Muslim Americans were treated here in the U.S., no excuse. No excuse. The amount of xenophobia that was allowed to happen, no excuse. No excuse. And people not even understanding, just people of Middle Eastern descent just being discriminated against. And it was just literally like overnight. So that aspect of xenophobic behavior, no excuse at all. If we can just show up each and every day and say, you know what, whatever that is, whatever privilege or whatever, systemically limited factors I have, I'm going to show up each and every day, and I'm going to leverage my privilege to give a space to others so they can speak. And I'm going to find courage in these things, or these systemic, oppressed, marginalized identities that I have, to speak up for myself. And we all have a combination of both of them within ourselves. So it's learning how to navigate those spaces. So instead of feeling like you need to be perfect and feeling like you need to have positive validation every second of the day, be courageous and say, I'm going to do it because it's the right thing to do. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to help in the way that I can help. I'm going to go as slow as I need to and really have substantial change and substantial movement, because when you conquer that inside of you, the rest of life changes. The rest of the world changes. That is how you change your frequency, by conquering you each and every day. These little things that come up each and every day. I believe, and this is just me thinking from the big picture, I truly believe that the moment that we can come together and accept everyone for whatever way that you want to connect with God, for whomever you are, whatever, differences or things, when we can get past that as a species, I honestly don't think that we will have religion in the same way. And the reason why is because I think we will be so connected to each other. We will be so loving. These wisdom traditions, these religious traditions are reminding us of something that we constantly fall short of. And if we can get there as a species, they're always there for us to be able to use, but we're actually living out what we need to live. And it doesn't mean we live in a perfect world. There will still be obstacles, but it means that we can actually be here for each other. Can you imagine if we were able to utilize all of this food. We have various food systems to feed everyone. Can you imagine if we got everyone access to adequate things? Can you imagine all of these things? Can you? The fact that there could be more people who are educated. Those are more people who will go out and, research various diseases in various things. We'll probably be happier. We may not have as much occurrence of disease. So here it is. We are, as a collective, that if we want to change the frequency of this environment, this world, we have to change ourselves. And that comes with just showing up in the space as you are and not being afraid to do so. And I promised that I would pull a card. So I just scored this deck. I don't know if you can see it. It is a Lenormand deck. And I think I'm going to just pull one card from this. And it's called the Black Gold Lenormand. I scored it on Kickstarter. Lovely, lovely, lovely deck. Super powerful. And I'm just going to pull one card because I think it's a wonderful way to channel systemic messages here. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And it's by Grandma's Baby. And it's called the Black Gold Lenormand. Love it. Sis came through. I never seen someone do a Kickstarter and just be so efficient. But here's the message that comes out today. And I'm going to focus this. And this is the Moon card. So I'm going to give you a moment just to look at that. Okay? I'm going to see this. And it says, from Negro in Greenville, Mississippi. Dorothy Lang, retrieved from the Library of Congress. But really the moon. So know that what you do by night comes to day, comes to fruition, comes to life. Okay? So if you really want to change the world, you really want to change this life, this wonderful connection we have, live your highest self when no one is looking. Show up then. And that's how we truly can change. But, family, I'm going to leave you there. And I'm going to say, if no one has said it, leave a comment if something really resonated with you or you want to continue the conversation. But if no one has said it, let me go ahead and say it. Wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. Don't touch your face and be sweet to yourself. I love you, love you, love you. Cannot wait until next time. But until then,